Hey everyone, this is Michael. Round number one. The main topic of discussion is the recently announced TNA and WWE partnership, a development that has sent shockwaves of anticipation through the wrestling world. However, since this episode arrives late, let's talk about some recent headlines. If you're wondering what Steve Austin has been up to, he announced via his Instagram account that he's recovering from a total knee replacement on his left knee about 8 weeks ago. Steve Austin thanks Bill Wall for helping with his knee recovery. Austin says he's back in the gym with light training and plans to race in the Mint 400 in 7 weeks. He also mentioned that he drove his KRX 1000 this weekend, which I think is a Kawasaki vehicle. Now, a total knee replacement on his left knee typically involves a year-long recovery process, so I hope Austin doesn't experience any more setbacks. In a recent interview with Chris Van Vliet, Kurt Angle said that the nickname Perk Angle hurts his feelings and brings back painful memories. You know, I honestly didn't know about this nickname. I was aware that Kurt Angle had an awful addiction to painkillers after breaking his neck multiple times. And he admitted he took 65 extra strength Vicodin a day at the height of his addiction problems during an interview on the Dan Leah Bard show years ago. Kurt Angle understands the nickname is not said by fans to hurt his feelings, but it's a nickname he wishes not to be addressed to his face. Kurt says, and I quote, "It's a time where I was in a dark situation in my life, and that is the part I don't want to remember. All the trouble I got into, the divorce I had, and just a lot of things that were going on in my life that I don't want to remember anymore." End quote. Now, oxycodone and paracetamol are sold under the brand name Percocet, among others, and are used to treat moderate to severe pain. This episode is significant because I had a tooth extraction on Monday afternoon, and it went great with no stitches needed. I was prescribed some low-dose painkillers and antibiotics to treat an infection. However, I didn't take the painkillers necessarily and ended up throwing them away because I wasn't in any pain at all. I'm amazed that people who undergo tooth extraction are often advised to take one painkiller every 3 to 4 hours as needed, and some end up becoming reliant on them. You know, it completely blows my mind. Like, I can understand somebody getting hooked on painkillers after a severe injury, like breaking their neck or being in a car accident, but not from a tooth extraction. Now, Rob Van Dam shared the following information somewhere, which was reported by Fightful in a now deleted article. Rob Van Dam says, and I quote, "I visited Chris Bey. He has broken his neck and was hospitalized for 2 months in a state of paralysis. Sorry about that. I'm not sure how much I should disclose, but that's the situation. However, he's improving and beginning to regain his abilities. I believe he can make a comeback. It will be a long journey, but I'm confident he will succeed." End quote. Now, if you watched the TNA Genesis pay-per-view last weekend, there was a tribute segment for Chris Bey and a QR code for donations towards his recovery. So far, USD $100,745 has been raised towards a goal of $110,000 with over 988 donations. If you wish to donate, go to the actual GoFundMe website where you will find the correct information on how to help Chris Bey ease the stress of financial burden associated with this injury. Did you hear about Allie Katch's horrible injury at a recent GCW show? Allie is signed to Game Changer Wrestling and competes on the independent circuit. Allie broke her leg in 2 places at the recent People vs. GCW event. Brett Lauderdale, GCW owner, commented on the injury via Fightful.com and noted that Allie had undergone successful surgery, was released from the hospital the following morning, and is in good spirits as she begins her recovery. Allie's best friend, Steph DeLander, set up a GoFundMe which raised $51,963 of $50,000 goal with 960 donations. Wrestling fans and talent often come together to support independent wrestlers by easing the burden of medical bills and lost income. Whether sharing information about a GoFundMe campaign or donating, your support is crucial. Your involvement makes a real difference and empowers these wrestlers in need. By staying informed and contributing, you become an integral part of the wrestling community, helping to ensure the well-being of athletes you admire. We have more news, but I'll save that for another upload this week. Let's get into the main event of this episode. WWE and TNA Wrestling, 2 industry giants, have unveiled a multi-year partnership that will create unprecedented crossover opportunities within WWE and TNA programming for NXT superstars and TNA wrestling stars. This is not just a collaboration, it's a game changer. The implications of this partnership are massive, potentially reshaping the wrestling industry and opening up new opportunities for talent and fans alike. This exciting development promises a bright future for wrestling, and we'll be looking into the results and what they mean for the future shortly. The potential impact of this partnership is immense, and it could lead to dream matches, fresh storylines, and a larger platform for wrestlers. It's a thrilling time to be a wrestling fan. I'm thrilled that this partnership has finally come together after many years of fans hoping for a collaboration between WWE and TNA. Both organizations have maintained an open line of communication over the years. As older wrestling fans, we remember Christian making a surprise appearance in TNA in 2012 as a favor from WWE, even though he wasn't keen on it. This was necessary for WWE because they wanted Ric Flair to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame alongside the 4 Horsemen, despite Flair still being a TNA talent then. This historical context connects us to the past and sets the stage for an exciting future. We've also seen WWE allow the former Knockouts champion and WWE alumni Mickie James to appear with her championship belt, use her original TNA music, and showcase a unique on-screen name graphic. Additionally, she was given a decent amount of ring time in the Women's Royal Rumble match, establishing a narrative connection between WWE and TNA programming. Naomi left WWE in 2023 to join TNA, where she became the Impact Women's World Champion and the TNA Knockouts Champion. In 2024, she returned to WWE and played a role in fostering a closer relationship between WWE and TNA. Upon her return, WWE commentators frequently reference her ties to TNA and her departure from the WWE the previous year. Joe Hendry, who I admit I didn't know much about, came into NXT as a surprise that I didn't expect. He arrived excitedly, having more importance and value than many on the WWE roster. Jordan Grace has also made waves, participating in the Rumble and joining NXT. She wrestled in the main event of a WWE PLE for a WWE Championship, serving as a leading figure for TNA talent entering the WWE universe. This effort has helped the audience recognize that TNA wrestlers are more than just stars. They deserve to be referred to as superstars. Now, here's a spoiler. We can anticipate the evolution of this TNA WWE partnership into something more familiar when either company officially announces a TNA wrestler as a superstar instead of a star. So keep an eye out for that cue. This partnership also benefits TNA's linear programs, Impact and Explosion. Here in Canada, we are now a few weeks removed from the loss of most WWE linear television programming due to its move to Netflix. The only WWE linear television program still available is Saturday night's main event on NBC. To my knowledge, Sportsnet has held the rights to WWE programming for about 12 to 14 years. Before that, WWE programs had been a staple on various Canadian households through channels dating back to the late 1970s. When WWE Raw moved to Netflix, TNA immediately became the sole wrestling program on Sportsnet. I have an aunt in her 70s who was disappointed that WWE programming left Sportsnet. She regularly watched Raw, NXT, SmackDown, and was also subscribed to the WWE Network, which was available as an actual cable channel in Canada. TNA wrestling and its stars may be unfamiliar to her, but she'll likely be pleased when she watches TNA and notices that former NXT, and current WWE talents will be appearing there in a few weeks' time. This partnership is not just great news for TNA, it should also improve the ratings for TNA Impact in Canada going forward. Now, according to Post Wrestling, the third week of Impact Wrestling on Sportsnet 360 averaged 25,000 viewers, including 7,000 in the 25 to 54 demographic for the Go Home episode before the Genesis pay-per-view. The previous week's episode had 19,000 viewers and 7,000 were in the same demographic. This episode aired shortly after TNA announced its new multi-year partnership with WWE and was taped recently at Center Stage in Atlanta. Now, coming up, TNA Impact will be live from Full Sail University from Florida on Thursday, February 20th, followed by a taping of Impact on Friday, February 21st. This is interesting because Full Sail University was tied to WWE NXT before WWE completed the Performance Center upgrade, which was expanded to include the NXT arena. So I'm interested in whether WWE will be involved with the broadcasts regarding talent involvement and TV production standards. Now, here are some key aspects I believe are needed to elevate TNA's live TV production standards through this WWE partnership, making the quality of live and tape TNA broadcasts more appealing and engaging for viewers. Number one is technology upgrades. TNA utilizing the latest broadcast technology is crucial. This includes high definition or 4K cameras, advanced audio equipment, and cutting-edge graphic systems. TNA hasn't been exposed to the latest broadcast technology since Spike TV supported them. TNA's current programming is in high definition, but it looks like a low-grade high definition with dull colors. The latest iPhone 16 Pro is more cutting-edge than all of TNA's cameras. WWE loaning TNA their broadcasting technology would significantly improve their broadcasts. Okay, number 2, training and skill development. TNA needs WWE to invest in training for TNA production crews to ensure they're well versed in the latest techniques and technologies. Regular workshops and courses on production methods, equipment handling, and creative storytelling can significantly elevate the quality of the TNA broadcasts. With TNA filming at Full Sail for 2 days, it links them up with a university designed for entertainment media and emerging technologies. WWE and Full Sail University are two of the best in America from which TNA can learn from. Number 3, improve workflows. Streamlining the production process can enhance efficiency and reduce errors. This can involve better communication among team members, implementing project management software, and developing clear protocols for each production stage. Number 4, enhance storytelling techniques. Focusing on narrative can help engage audiences. This includes crafting compelling storylines, utilizing effective pacing, and ensuring that all broadcast elements advance the narrative. TNA can definitely learn from the WWE on this aspect. And last, number 5, audience interaction. Incorporating live audience feedback can create a more dynamic viewing experience. This can include social media integration, live polls, and direct viewer participation, making the audience feel more connected to the production. TNA does none of this, and I was shocked to hear that the live impact last week was the first time in 8 years that TNA Impact was live on television. That statistic, it blew my mind. So yeah, TNA does none of this, and while the WWE does so, hopefully with the continuation of more live TNA television tapings for Impact, they can learn from the WWE. Now, I'm not on television, but since TNA agreed to this partnership, it means that TNA is open to change and knows that WWE, which has expertise in specific areas in broadcasting, can bring additional perspectives and enhance production qualities. The previous uploads here on YouTube featured a few predictions in wrestling for 2025. I predicted Gail Kim will be a shoo-in for the 2025 Hall of Fame. I predicted Abyss will be in the 2025 Royal Rumble match to finally introduce this character to the WWE Universe, as the man behind the Abyss mask is a long-serving WWE producer, and Abyss to me felt like a character who should have made it to WWE programming. I left out my prediction that WWE would purchase TNA Wrestling in 2025. I left it out because while I think there will be a closer family connection between WWE and TNA Wrestling in 2025, WWE will not directly purchase TNA Wrestling from Anthem Sports and Entertainment. Ultimately, I believe sometime in 2025, the parent company, Endeavor, will release a notice of intent to acquire Anthem Sports and Entertainment, which will become a subsidiary of TKO. Then TNA Wrestling and TNA Plus, which is the streaming entity of TNA Wrestling, will become a division of the WWE. If you look at the assets of Anthem Sports and Entertainment, it makes sense for Ari and Manuel to go through them with a purchase. Endeavor will acquire Gravitas Ventures for film and possible television production distribution, with the companies already at Endeavor, specializing in film and broadcast. Invicta Fighting Championships is a dedicated women's MMA promotion, which would be great for TKO Group Holdings and the UFC. Finally, multiple television channels between Canada and the United States could be sold or relicensed to focus on a Pacific genre. Now, this may sound unbelievable, but aside from purchasing a few Noah and Marigold pay-per-views on Wrestle Universe, I haven't paid full price to watch a domestic pay-per-view since the launch of the WWE Network. Now, for the TNA Genesis pay-per-view, I paid about $39.99 USD, and I'll tell you this much: I was not happy about paying $39.99 USD. It came out to about like $45. Ridiculous price for a TNA pay-per-view. But you know, I understand that's TNA's decision regarding the pricing of their monthly events, so that's okay. TNA will likely make millions of dollars from global purchases of the Genesis pay-per-view, which might lead to TKO Group to consider acquiring TNA Wrestling or persuading their parent company to engage in a merger or a total buyout of Anthem Sports and Entertainment. The potential for TKO Group to showcase an additional 12 wrestling premium live events as pay-per-views could translate to hundreds of millions of dollars in yearly revenue, especially when especially with WWE established talent featured on those TNA pay-per-views. Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio mentioned that multiple sources confirmed the deal aims to secure TNA's presence on TV outlets that WWE is leaving, particularly in India, to prevent AEW from gaining those platforms. Meltzer has said that some believe that WWE will end up owning TNA, while others think this WWE TNA partnership will be a disaster, as according to what Meltzer is saying, partnerships with the WWE usually don't end well. But you know, I don't see this. I don't see TNA being worse off if they do get acquired by the WWE. This partnership is focused on bringing TNA up to standard to secure the remaining television deals that WWE left behind to go forward with Netflix, especially in regions like the UK and India. Especially with India, TNA getting a deal with a television deal in India could result in a substantial multi-million-dollar deal for TNA. In 2020, Sony Pictures Network India, also known as SPNI, renewed its rights to WWE content for an estimated 180 to 210 million over 5 years. While TNA, of course, won't receive that much, the backing of WWE in this partnership, along with the promise of integration of WWE talent into TNA Impact, and TNA wrestlers appearing on WWE content on Netflix would definitely make TNA programming more appealing for acquisition by SPNI in India, which will result in a substantial revenue for TNA wrestling. Now, the shift in media rights from Sony Pictures Network India to Netflix India over the WWE rights is expected to begin after March 2025. So there's a strong possibility that if Sony Pictures Network India is still interested in wrestling, they could acquire TNA Wrestling. In my opinion, Endeavor will likely fully invest in Anthem Sports and Entertainment if the India deal goes through. Is this a good thing for TNA? Absolutely. I personally think if the India deal goes through, I think Triple H might co-executive produce TNA along with Lee Fitting and Shawn Michaels and whoever else executive produces TNA to help elevate the show's quality. Ultimately, TNA talent should have concerns once if this acquisition is announced and goes through, as you know, they'll become a living division of the WWE focused solely on pay-per-view events and global linear television content. TNA could face a stronger workload to deal with than ever before. The worst case scenario could involve WWE rebranding TNA again to take over the WCW intellectual property. That's the worst thing I could see that could happen in this deal. WWE currently has an overflow of talent across its main roster. NXT, WWE ID, and the NIL program. This talent could be integrated into the TNA roster and featured on TNA Impact and Explosion until they can be transitioned to NXT for appearances or ultimately the main roster. This approach would help cover for absent talent or allow new permanent roster members to be added. In conclusion, this partnership between WWE and TNA can potentially revolutionize the wrestling landscape by embracing both organizations' shared expertise and resources. TNA can raise its production values and storytelling capabilities to new heights. This synergy prompts us to engage long-term fans and attract a new audience energized by the possibility of crossover events and shared talent. As we look forward to the exciting developments that will surely unfold, it's clear that wrestling fans are in for an exciting, exhilarating ride ahead. So here's to a new era of professional wrestling. Okay, that's it for today's episode of today's new upload to the Round Number One YouTube channel. I hope to see you again during the week, and catch you later.